Good morning, everyone. If you could find your seat so we can get started. We've got a lot of exciting things to talk about today. My name is Jamie Weingartner. I'm a pastor here at Compass. I'm also the vice president for our city board. So I'm just really excited to be here today and welcome you. Our executive director is here, but he had a Zoom call that he had to attend to, and he'll be back over here in a minute. So again, welcome to Compass on behalf of Compass. Glad you guys could come to the bridge. If you've never been here before, we're really excited for you guys to be here. We've got an awesome panel here today for you, but I am going to pray us in. I don't know if you guys know, but today is the National Day of Prayer. So we're just going to spend some time praying for our nation and our state. So if you would, let's pray. God, I just thank you for letting us be here today. I thank you for allowing us to just come together and honor you and just talk about what you're doing in our communities, God. I want to lift up our nation today, God, on the National Day of Prayer. I just pray for leaders who trust in you and believe in you and follow all of the ways of you, God. I just pray that as a nation we can continue to seek you and honor you. God, I pray for Arizona and for the leaders of Arizona that they will just rise up following your son, Jesus, God. I just pray for the people of Arizona, all of our neighbors and friends, God, that they will just know what it means to be in a relationship with you. God, today I pray for our youth, as we're going to talk about the youth today, the leaders of our next generation, God. I pray that they will be emboldened and empowered to follow you and to speak up, God, on your behalf. I pray for all of the youth workers, God, that are pouring into our next generation, God, that when they're tired, they will be able to depend on you and lean into you and experience your peace, God. I just pray that they will not grow tired and weary, God, that they will continue to just serving our next generation, God, the generation that's going to lead us in the years to come. God, I just want to lift up the youth again, that they will just be able to know who you are and that they will be able to experience what it means to have a relationship with your son. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. We pray that it's a time of us making relationships with each other, laughs, and just able to come forth with plans to better serve our community. Thank you, God, for all that you've given us and all that you will continue to do for us. In your son's name I pray, amen. All right, I'm going to hand it over to our MC today, Dr. Crawford.
Good morning. Okay, I know there's some people out there because I can see you out there. So don't act like you're not there, okay? Good morning. Doesn't it feel good to be here today? Doesn't it feel really, really good to be here today? I know I'm feeling good because this is, believe it or not, this is one of the first few times that I've had an opportunity to actually get out and interact with someone, person to person, you know. So I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm fully vaccinated, okay, trust me, but I'm gonna keep my distance so that we stay safe. But it is so good. So I'm not gonna wear my mask so that you can hear me. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, wonderful. My name is Dr. William Crawford, and I think Pastor Hardy was going to go, but we'll let him come a little bit later on. How about that? Is that okay with you? And we'll go ahead and get started. A little bit about myself. I actually am from the Valley. My undergraduate degree is in Justice Studies from Arizona State University, and my master and doctorate is from Northern Arizona University. I retired after 24 years with the Maricopa Community College District in 2017, and I'm now an adjunct professor for Northern Arizona University and a professional volunteer. How about that? Hey, isn't that wonderful? Absolutely. So that's just a little bit about me, and I want to say thank you for our city for extending an invitation to me to serve as your moderator this morning. It's such a great opportunity. I enjoy doing these events and being engaged for our city. Today, It's all things youth. That's our theme today, all things youth. And so to my right are five incredible individuals. Look at them. Look at them. They're incredible. So let's start things off. Give them a big round of applause just to begin with. But before I go there, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege and ask all the mothers in the room to please stand and be acknowledged. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, day in and day out. Thank you for putting up with your children and your husbands and your significant others and your partners. Thank you so much for that, okay? I know sometimes it seems like you're taken for granted, but not the case, not the case. My mother is no longer with me, but I remember some of the sacrifices she made. And so I think it's appropriate for us as we approach Mother's Day on Sunday to just pause and reflect about all of our mothers and the sacrifices that they make for us and the differences they make in our lives. Can you give them another round of applause for me? Thank you. Because we have some limited amount of time today, we could only profile about 5 organizations, but trust us, there are many more organizations that serve youth throughout the city of Chandler. But we have limited time today, so we wanted to just carve out some time and focus on just 5 of these, okay? And I could stand up here and I could read the bios of each individual for you, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're gonna see if we can make it a little bit more engaging, more conversational. And so I'm gonna ask each of them to introduce themselves to you, tell you a little bit about themselves, tell you a little bit about their organization, tell you about their programs, the activities that they provide, and how they have evolved over the past several years. Does that sound like a plan to you? Uh-oh, I lost you. Does that sound like a plan to you? All right, okay. So let's get started. Let's meet our members. So how about it, Melissa? Will you kick us off this morning?
I will. Sounds
You
good.
got it.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Melissa Kowalski, and I'm the Chief Program Officer at ICANN Positive Programs for Youth. I've been with the organization for about 9 years and just have so many fond memories of ICANN and partnering with them even before I started. Our main programs, if you're not familiar with ICANN, is we have after-school programs for kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. We're located not too far from here. However, the demographic that we serve is much different because, as many of you know in the room, kind of maybe that dividing line is that 202. North of the 202 and south of the 202, we have a very different population in the sense of income level and opportunities for so many of our youth. At ICANN, we're located in downtown Chandler, right behind Foley Park on Arizona Avenue in Pecos, basically. And about 150 to 200 youth come to our after-school programs every day. And we also now, this past year, opened 2 additional sites. We have one at Galveston Elementary and one at Hartford Elementary. And we really try and strive to have embedded education programs as well as character building and really focus on the 5 C's of youth development. Some of those being communication, character, competence, and embed those in our after-school programs as well as all day during the summertime. And at ICANN, we also try and wrap around services where we're providing programs for, we pick kids up from school and transport them for free as well as providing meals because we know that if our kids' bellies aren't full, if their minds aren't healthy, they're not able to learn. And I think especially this past year, we've really seen such a need from our families, and hopefully I can touch on this a little bit more, of the mental health needs of our youth and how those are changing with pandemic, with racial divides in our communities, and so really trying to focus on the mental health of our youth as well. In addition, we also provide programs for parents, and also knowing that we can only reach so many youth in our programs, and also do school-based programs, so go into the schools and provide programming part of the school day. So that's a little bit about ICANN, and hope to share a little bit more later on in the panel.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raymond. I work for the Chandler Gilbert Family YMCA. I've been there for about 2.5 years now, serving as the program director of sports and aquatics. The Valley of the Sun YMCA across the state of Arizona. We serve thousands of kids every single summer in a myriad of different programs such as summer camp, youth sports, swim lessons, teen camp, leaders in training. Swim lessons are the big one as well, swim teams. So we have a bunch of different programs. Over the last year, we've gone through a bunch of different transitions. When the closures occurred back in March, we transitioned into emergency childcare, providing childcare for essential workers. That was a huge transition for us. Across the valley, we were serving over 100 kids at each one of our branches of essential workers. We eventually opened that up to our general community. When the schools went online, we provided online schooling at our branches for the youth to come to our locations, to have a nice, safe place to go, do their schooling, have some resources. Like she said, have a meal in their belly. So a lot of cool work there. As recent as of August of last year, we started reopening our branches to our community, providing before and after school care. Our preschool program as well is ramping up as well. And youth sports are back up and running. We're currently on our 3rd season of sports, which is really awesome. It's a 100% volunteer-based program that allows us to provide youth sports from as young as pre-K all the way through high school grade, so really awesome work there. And then as of next week, we'll be starting our swim lessons as well, so definitely excited to get back and serve the community.
Good morning. Oops. I got this right? Okay. Good morning. My name is Gretchen Long. I am with the Boys and Girls Club of the Valley. Some of you probably know we just went through a merger. It's been a year now. So Boys and Girls Club of the East Valley and Boys and Girls Club of Metro Phoenix have merged. So I am here representing our Chandler branch. We're an after-school program, Boys and Girls Club. We serve youth from 5 to 18 years old. We have after-school programs, summer programs, sports programs. As we all know, things have changed. This has been quite a year. Our after-school program, our total membership with Boys and Girls Club traditionally is about 1,300 youth. Right now, once COVID hit and we had to kind of change gears, we were fortunate that we did not close down at all. So we were able to stay in service, making sure that we were there for the kids when everything kind of changed and we went into distance learning. So we had opened up our clubhouses. We switched from traditionally as all youth organizations, making sure that we have meals for the kids. We had to do some quick changing around, and instead of doing lunch or dinners, we were then serving breakfast and lunch and snacks to the kids. So it's been a year. We have been, kind of transitioning through the merger. We were able to keep all of our services up and running. We're really excited about the summer. We're starting to get more kids back. We're looking at, growing our after-school daily attendance again and getting back into our regular services. So, and I think I'll share more of our programs as we go through the program. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Everybody. My name is Devin Del Palacio. I am the Director of Community Outreach for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central Arizona. And before I begin, I just want to thank for our city. I want to thank Compass and the Bridge for bringing us all together to discuss all things youth. Look, it's been a challenging year. We know this. Our kids have been through so much, and they need us now more than ever. And the fact that we're here today gathered to have a conversation about solutions, real solutions to help our kids, is just amazing. So thank you again for the invite. Appreciate it. I've been with the organization for 2 years now, and our whole mission is to support and create one-to-one mentor relationships. One-to-one mentor relationships, because we don't believe, but we know when you connect one stable, caring adult with the youth, boy, that can unlock their full potential. And that's what it's all about. We want to help our kids unlock their full potential through one-to-one mentorship. We've been in the Valley for over 65 years. Since that time, we served a little over 60,000 youth. Every year, we serve about 1,600 youth. And I gotta tell you, the pandemic shut a lot of things down, but what it didn't shut down was a need for our youth to get the help that they need. In fact, it increased. So what did that mean for us? We had to pivot, utilize technology. We implemented virtual mentoring. We got a bit flexible with our volunteers to allow them to mentor from wherever they're at. And so we know mentoring works. We've been researched extensively. We know that kids who are in our program for at least 1 year are 52% less likely to skip a day of school, 46% less likely to start engaging in risky behaviors, drugs and alcohol. Mentoring works. It can transform not only the life of a child, but it can transform our communities. And I'm extremely excited to talk more about our program. Thank you all for having me here today.
He's good. That was good. My name is Sheridan Ford. I am the bridge director. So if you guys go outside and you look that way, that is our facility. We are a outreach program. Hi, Jordan. We are an outreach program. Our desire and our goal is to cater to 7th through 12th graders in our community. We want to be a safe space for the individual. Our desire is to fight for the individual and allow the students to see that they belong here. And as we've kind of talked about before, we took a hit with COVID, right? And we're wanting to now, just through being here for 11 years, initially when we first started, there was an influx of students, right? And we had the desire and the goal to show the students that they belonged here, but there were so many students that it was very hard to lay that foundation. And we're in a beautiful season right now because we get to lay that foundation. And so now we are starting from the you belong here. Here's our intention with the one student we want to pour into you. We're able to lay that foundation so that we can reach the community in a better light than we ever have before. So that is our community, and that is what we get to do here at the Bridge.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. And Sheridan, I just would like to say thank you to Compass for hosting for our city this morning. This is such a gorgeous facility. I think I shared with you earlier that when I came in at the very front up there, and I looked at the facility, and it's like huge. I mean, it's great. So thank you so much. And please express our appreciation to Compass for being so kind this morning. Okay, I think we're ready to get into it. So the youth today have seen so many challenging issues. So think about in your mind, if you will, try to take yourself back to when you were 10 years old, 12 years old. George, for some of us, that takes a little bit longer than others, okay? Like me. 13 years old, 14 years old. Imagine if the pandemic had occurred then. How would you have handled that situation? Now let's frame the context around our first question. So to our panelists, what are some of the issues that our youth are facing today? And I'd like for you to reflect on that as it in this time, in the pandemic, before it, how is that going to change things going forward? Who would like to start? Well, Melissa, you have the mic.
I'll start. Well, I think before the pandemic, we saw many challenges with our youth, and a lot of us are partners up here, which I think is really cool to know that, because I think there's not one solution, it's us all working together for that. Who in the audience is familiar with ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences? Oh, wonderful. This is great to hear so many are familiar with that. For those who are not, Adverse Childhood Experiences is basically a survey that you would take, and you can look for this online, so just Google it and you'll find it, and you can take it yourself, and basically asks you 10 questions. The questions are geared, some of the examples are, before you were 18, did you have a family member who was incarcerated, had substance abuse, was verbally or sexually or violently abused? Did you have a parent who was incarcerated, or also then were your parents divorced? And whatever your score is, rather from 0 all the way to 10, you are more likely to not only be more susceptible to yourself being incarcerated, yourself having mental health issues, but then also cancer, diabetes. Like, it is, the research behind it is just astronomically, it just blows my mind when I see it. And I think so many of our youth, where, for example, youth in Arizona have the highest adverse childhood experience score than anyone in the nation. Anywhere in the nation, Arizona has the highest, where 24% of individuals have 3 or more of these adverse childhood experiences. So then you pull it on the pandemic, and there's so many other additional challenges that I don't need to explain to all of you. But also keep in mind that so many of our low-income families may not have the same experiences that we had, where, for example, there may have been a computer to be able to use, know how to use it. Technology in the home. You may have had technology, but you have 5 kids and you have 1 cell phone with internet. How are you supposed to learn for all of your children during that time? So I think where we're seeing at ICANN, and I'm probably going to say I speak for everyone here, is that the amount of referrals we're having to make for mental health needs, suicide attempts, family members who have had suicide attempts, and just the abuse and additional trauma that these children have experienced, we need to be providing more support for them. ICANN and many others up here has mentioned of having like all-day programming during different closures, so we were there for them, but it's so much harder. And even things that are helpful. So for example, someone was explaining to me with counseling of, okay, you know, you have to do counseling through Zoom, and you do it and you're like, I really want it in person. However, so many of our youth are going in person for counseling, but what do you have to do typically when you're sitting this close to someone? You have to wear a mask. And so think about, if we are in a counseling session, how am I supposed to read Raymond if I can't see his face? How are you supposed to see the facial movements? How are you supposed to know how someone's feeling? And it's so much more challenging even if the services are there. So at ICANN, we're really trying to focus on the most simple things. Greeting every child by name. Hey Raymond, how are you doing? How was your day today? Hey, those are cool new shoes. I really like those. Trying to have connections with the smallest things possible with our big programs, but really trying to have those connections, because I think the more connections we can have, the more one-on-one, especially we have a Big Brothers Big Sisters program at ICANN, and having the one-on-one mentoring is huge to be able to connect with youth. And I think that that's something small that we're doing, and I think everybody in the audience, where it's something as small, if you're at the grocery store and you see a child, just say hi, connect with someone, as well as their parents. Because if we know, we had a lot of moms stand up where if you're not thriving as a mom, how is your child supposed to be thriving? We did a survey in November, and our parents reported that 1 out of 4 of our ICANN parents said their number 1 concern was mental health. And the first one above that, the only one that was higher than that was being unemployed. So that doesn't even mean that number is going to be much higher than that as well. So really being able to just support, have those connections, people you see in the store, you're walking by, wherever it may be, just smile. I think that's the easiest thing that we can do right now to help everyone kind of thrive in that. Does
Thank
anyone
you.
want to take it on to?
And we're gonna wipe those off. So give us a couple seconds. We're gonna wipe off the microphones before people talk, just to be safe.
I would just say, first of all, thank you for sharing, Melissa. That was amazing. And just to add on to what she had shared, I think something that we have noticed here over at the Bridge is just the students need to be heard, right? The best thing that we can do is sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes you don't have the answers, and they don't need the answers, but they need somewhere to go to talk to all of the things that are happening in their life. So again, mental health has been one of the biggest issues that we've seen over at the Bridge, and a lot of just, we've had this past week, somebody committed suicide just in the community, and to see the students gather around that family, I didn't personally experience what that was like, but I heard the experience, and just being there in the middle of everything that is going on is one of the biggest things that we can do, and is just saying, hey, we have a space for you to be wherever you're at. We have ears to listen to wherever you're at. Because again, we might not know the answer and the why behind why things happen sometimes, but what we can do is we can say, hey, we are a safe place and a safe people for you to be whatever you need. We can do our best to pour out the wisdom that we've experienced, but we're here to listen and provide you with resources like these organizations offer. But again, just being able to be there for them in the middle of this transition season, because this is hitting them in such a different way than it hits us, and we're able to process things different. And they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And we get to be here and say, hey, we're here with you in the middle of this.
Absolutely agree. And I just want to add on to what Melissa had mentioned, what Sheridan has shared, is that, listen, the need is so great. The need is so great that not just one organization can do this work alone, which is why, like I said, we've partnered with ICANN, Boys and Girls Club. Why? We want to work with everybody. We have to have collective impact. And we also have to have another honest conversation. I think Melissa did a great job about explaining ACEs and all the adverse childhood experiences that our kids have been experiencing prior to the pandemic. So a lot of what we're talking about today existed prior to the pandemic, but the pandemic has exacerbated those challenges, exacerbated those inequities that have always been there. And in fact, in some cases, it's shown a light on what our children are experiencing. So in fact, this has opened a lot of eyes to what the challenges are that our kids are going through. 79% of the kids in our program come from a single parent household. 18% of the kids in our program have at least one parent that's incarcerated. 49% of our kids come from a household that has an annual income of less than $30,000. Now, I don't share that to create this, doom and gloom, but I share this to share the adversity that our kids are living in and the resiliency that they have, and that all they need is a friend. As Melissa said, it's as simple as saying hello or just smiling, or as Sheridan said, just listening. It really is that simple. We're not asking you to be a savior. We're not asking you to save these kids. These kids come to us whole, but they're only at risk without intervention. And the intervention is our programs that we all offer. Our services that are volunteer-led and at no cost a lot of times to our kids and their families. So it really isn't, it's a challenging task, but there's a simple solution to it. It just takes one caring person to get involved, just one.
Thank you. We're all going through the same thing, and we see this. And our main focus, we all have the same intentions. Our intentions are just to protect these little lives. Before the pandemic, they came into our clubs, they came into our programs, and they didn't have to have the answers, right? They didn't have to have everything figured out. They came to these programs, they were able to be a kid, they were able to socialize, have friends, they were able to, have regular days at school. And I think the biggest thing that we saw is just confusion. These kids are now all of a sudden confused, and they think they have to come up with the answers. They think they have to figure out what's going to happen and where are they going and what's tomorrow going to bring. And I think the biggest thing that we can do as youth serving organizations is just provide that sense of belonging for the kids. When they come to the club after they've been confused about being at school because everything's so different, or we have 3 of our clubhouses that are still doing distance learning, and the kids are still trying to learn through computers and remotely and not being able to be around people and ask questions. And so I think when they come into our programs, just to have that sense of belonging, just to feel for, the next 3 hours that they're going to be fed, that they don't have to worry, that they don't have to be scared, and they can just be a kid and have those caring adults around them that say, you know what, we got you for these 3 hours. And I think that's what we're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with everything that the panelists have said so far. The work that youth serving organizations are doing now more than ever has such an impact on these kids that it can't be understated. These kids are going through a lot more than I went through. Mind you, I'm only 24 years old, but I didn't go through nearly anything like these kids are going through. My sister herself, she's graduating high school next month. She had to go through an entire year of virtual learning, going through a very difficult transition period with going into a next chapter in life. But yeah, absolutely. The work that we do in our programs is very, very powerful. Doing something as simple as saying hi to a kid when they walk on in and acknowledging that they exist, acknowledging that they're important, and acknowledging that we are there for them, that goes a long way. So, like I said, the work that all of us here do and the work that all of you out there do as well does not go understated by any means necessary.
So if I'm hearing correctly, a lot of commonalities, acknowledging that those youth are important, just letting them know that they are important. And that is so true. So Sheridan, I'm gonna pick on you for just a second, okay? And as soon as he wipes off the mic, we're struggling with this, but be patient with us, okay? I'm gonna ask you, think about your organization right now. Think about the bridge right now. Think about Compass right now. Maybe that's a little bit too large. Maybe we just focus on the bridge. Talk a little bit about your biggest challenges. What are the things that keep you up at night? Maybe you're so young you don't even stay up at night.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. So I personally, I love relationships, right? And I love being able to connect with students and to connect with the students in the community. I think right now, just throughout, obviously just experiencing this pandemic, I'm sure all of the organizations up here and down there, you guys have experienced the same thing of just not being able to reach all of the students that you want to reach and knowing that there's a need, right? So there's a balance between understanding that there's a need in the community and also trying to figure out how to creatively reach those students in the community. Because again, we want to create a safe place of belonging, and we get to be that place. And so when we know that we have a space for students to feel like they can come and be poured into, and we know that students don't know about our organization, it breaks my heart. Or if we know that students don't know about the resources that can be offered in the community, it breaks my heart, because there are people who just need to be felt like they have a place to go. And we have that, and we can offer that. And I think that all it takes is just is working together, partnering with one another, and reaching the community together. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, and where our desire here is just to be, again, just to make ourselves a little bit more known in the community, so we can say, hey, we want you to be here. We want to be a place for you to be here, for you to feel safe, and just making ourselves known more.
Yeah. I'm not sure who that, did you pay that person out there to do it? No, oh, okay, all right.
It's
no.
my friend.
Oh, okay, that's your friend, okay. Wonderful. Anyone else like to expound on that a little bit?
Well, I'll just share, one thing that keeps me up at night is the fact that I think sometimes we get so bogged down in the challenge and the problem that we might not see the solution that's right in front of our faces. What do I mean by that? Well, currently, I have 110 little brothers waiting on our wait list. Some have been on our wait list for up to 2 years, waiting for a big brother. For 2 years. I'm a big brother myself. Before I got matched, my little brother, his name is Prince, he's 10 years old. That's his real name too. I mean, he's amazing, he's awesome. He was on the wait list for 3 years because we couldn't find male mentors. We couldn't find a male mentor in his area. He lives in Goodyear, I live in Avenel. And so it is tough because with our program, our kids, part of the program is, what makes us special is that the kids actually want to be in our program. So let's say mom and dad think it's a great idea, teacher think it's a great idea for them to have a mentor. Well, if the little doesn't want it, we actually don't enroll them, because we know that there has to be a commitment on everybody in order for it to work. So you mean to tell me I have 110, 115 little brothers on the wait list that want to be mentored, that want a big brother, and I can't find them? So our biggest challenge is getting folks to understand that mentoring doesn't have to be this big, heavy lift. Twice a month for 1 hour, for 1 year. That's a commitment. That's what we ask. And there's also need for big sisters as well. And then on the other side of the coin is also educating our parents and how awesome and how uplifting it can be for their child to have a mentor in their life. It doesn't matter if you're a single mom or you have a 2-parent household, it doesn't matter what it is, every kid can benefit from a mentor. And the things that they can learn, Sometimes the things that we teach our kids, it'll just take someone else saying the same thing for them to listen. So everyone can benefit from a mentor. So it's just educating our parents and let them know that this is a free resource. We don't charge anything for it. So it's a free resource for parents to enroll their littles in our program, sign them up for a mentor. So it's two coins. It's one, recruiting volunteers to get them to understand this isn't that big of a heavy lift. And there's a great need, and there's kids out there who want to be mentored. But then on the other half, it's also letting our parents know that we're here as a free resource to help your child reach their full potential.
A selfish plug after that. We have a Big Brothers Big Sisters program at ICANN. So to make things even easier, let's say you're thinking, okay, I don't know if I have the time to coordinate that. Every other Wednesday from 4:45 to 5:45, we have a Big Brothers Big Sisters program that Big Brothers Big Sisters puts on at ICANN. You just show up. There's a staff member from Big Brothers Big Sisters that plans the activities. You don't have to plan anything. You just show up. Gina LeBenz is one of our volunteers. I know many in the audience knows Gina. Every other Wednesday, it's a fun activity where it's housed at ICANN. So maybe you yourself may not fit in your schedule, but you may know someone. So this week, next week, meet someone for coffee, share about that there's a need of so many Big Brothers, Big Sisters at other schools, location, there's school programs, San Marcos school program still happening. There's one happening at San Marcos Elementary during lunchtime. So if that time works better for your school or for your schedule, there's another one as well. So that's a really easy way to get involved.
Wow, Melissa, that sounds like you're putting a challenge out there.
I know.
Sounds like they're putting a challenge out there.
I saw some smiles, so I feel like we're gonna get a few bites.
Yeah, okay. And maybe if not them, somebody they know.
Yeah,
Maybe a
yeah.
family member, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Gretchen, did you want to say something? Okay, all right, real good. Okay, let's transition and talk a little bit now about your organization's goals for the future. For 2021, we don't have, actually, believe it or not, we're into May, right? We're almost halfway through the year already. So even beyond 2021, 2022, 2023. So what's it look like in the future for your organization? Gretchen, can we pick on you this time?
So our upcoming goals, really right now we're building on, like I said before, increasing our ADA, our average daily attendance. Before COVID, we had over 250 kids in our building every day. We had 50 teens in our club. And since the pandemic, obviously, and we've talked about that, we didn't have as many kids coming. They're, fear with parents, having kids around each other, and we're slowly starting to build that up. And so we really want to make sure that, again, like we said, visibility, parents know that we're there, that's a place where the kids and the teens want to come, so we're working on that. And another one of our initiatives right now is our STEM and STEAM programs. So we've really been working with making sure that, it's not just a specialized program. When we're doing robotics or we're doing coding or we're doing some of the circuitry, we don't want it to just be something like, oh, it's kind of the special event. We really want to build it all into our programs. With the help of the compadres, we have built what we call the garage at the club. And the kids have an opportunity to come in every day, work on some of these things like coding and robotics and engineering. We're also doing some of the digital arts. We have a music studio. We have a visual art studio, video where the kids can actually make their own movies. We had a challenge with the kids, and our teens actually made a short film, and they produced it, they wrote it, directed, produced it, and entered it into the Chandler Film Festival. So that was really exciting for them. We are doing our first ever STEAM Bowl Saturday, May 15th. If any of you guys are interested and want to come by the club. We actually have that sponsored through Nudesic. It's a technology company, and the kids are going to get an opportunity. So some of these kids that we see have these interests, but maybe, they're not the athletes. They're not the kids that are on team sports. So we're really building opportunities for these kids that wouldn't be part of team sports because of their interest in, some of the tech type of stuff. So they're going to actually be able to be on a team. They're going to come in, they're going to compete in all of these different areas of technology. So something exciting. We're also working with our esports, another opportunity for kids that are more into the gaming and more of these techie type kids that they can actually be part of a team, can have camaraderie, learn how to, so they're not just gaming by themselves, but they're being part of this team effort. So we're really excited, and that's one of our strong initiatives coming up for 2021, 2022.
So let me ask Devin if he would be kind enough to talk and see. I think you were reaching for the mic there, right? Did you want to give it to Raymond? Go ahead, Devin.
Well, I would just say that obviously one of our biggest, long-term goals is always to get rid of that wait list, cut that down significantly, continue to increase male recruitment, continue to get our littles involved in our programming, continue to grow our couples and family matches. Yeah. So if you and your significant other been together for at least a year, you can actually mentor together. If you have kids yourself in your home, you can mentor as a family. And it's awesome because now your kids get a new friend, the little gets a new friend, and everyone gets to do activities together as a unit. So our goal is to always figure out ways, innovative ways to collaborate with other youth-serving organizations, as we mentioned, because we want to be able to have a collective impact. But our big focus, our big goal is going to always be getting more males involved to cut down on that little brother wait list. Our big sisters are doing one amazing job. They're stepping up. They're getting it done for us. And we still have a need for big sisters. But our priority is how do we get more males to volunteer? How do we get them in our program to cut down on that wait list?
So Raymond, we're not going to let you miss this opportunity to share information about your organization. What's in your future?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the main, most recent goal is obviously get back to capacity of what we were doing, back 2019 before COVID. I think the work that we were doing pre-pandemic was amazing work. We had over 100 kids in our summer camp every single day. We had almost 1,000 kids every single season in sports. We were putting hundreds of kids a session in swim lessons. And we just want to get back to that first and foremost. We want to get back to a place where we're, getting to capacity, if not exceeding capacities. We want to have what we call a good problem, having too many kids in our building. We want to really get back to that place for sure. We want our annual campaign to get back to where it was before, where we're continuing to raise the dollars to give right back into our community in, financial assistance. I think that's our very immediate goal, but I think, moving forward, kind of like some of these guys have said, is get more innovative. I think now more than ever, we need to flip the script and realize that some of the work that we've been doing in the past might not serve our community in the same way that it used to, right? We need to figure out ways to be more innovative and find more ways to serve our community through a lot of different means. And I think one of the biggest opportunities that we have is us as the nonprofit sector and even the for-profit sector is collaborating more, right? The YMCA doesn't have the capacity necessarily to really reach the millions and millions of youth in our communities, but through the work of what we do, the work of what you guys do, all of us coming together to making sure that we can serve as many, not only youth, but adults, the senior citizen community, just making sure that we touch base and collaborating, I think is gonna be a big thing.
Okay, as we transition to our next question now, and I look out here in the audience, I can see in the eyes people that are just asking the question, how can I be involved with your organization? How can I find out more about your organization? How can I volunteer? How can I be engaged? What do you have to say to them, Melissa?
All right. At ICANN, our biggest need right now for how to get engaged is we want more consistent adult volunteers. This past year has really taught us, too, that having consistent volunteers is something that's just so much more impactful. And so we have a handful of adult volunteers that have more of like the specialty, and that's been working out well. So for example, one's in the library, one's in the garden, some are at our sites that I mentioned we expanded to Galveston and Hartford. So expanding to your circles, rather yourselves, and I know a lot of you are with faith-based organizations, of reaching out to your groups, of really being able to recruit long-term volunteers. Other needs that we have is really having one-time funding for specific projects. I mentioned before mental health, having funds to be able to support different mental health efforts, being able to really boost up our infrastructure to partner with other organizations around that, as well as one-time capital expense funds, those unsexy things to fund like roof repairs, AC repairs, all of those things that oftentimes aren't the most fun to donate towards, but are much, much needed. Especially if we all kind of mentioned that if we have low capacity and we're trying to increase that capacity of something as simple as, ICANN has such a beautiful new building that is about 9 years old, but we're starting to see those AC repairs, having to replace some of those things. And I know kind of everyone's probably in the same boat of some of those things. So even though I know it may be unsexy to fund, those are some of those capital expenses that are ways to get involved that make such a difference for us to be able to provide our mission-driven activities.
Unsexy, huh?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. They just need to get out the checkbook. Is that
Yep.
what you're saying?
Yes, that's
All
right. That's
okay.
right.
All right. Anyone else like to talk a little bit about how the people can get engaged?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same boat. Definitely having a consistent volunteer base. I mentioned that our sports program is 100% volunteer based. So all of our youth sports coaches, basketball, volleyball, it's all volunteer based. So I know maybe not all of you guys are jumping the gun on that one, but I'm sure you know somebody out in the community that wants to be a champion for youth health. So definitely youth sports is a big one. Fundraising, like she mentioned, that's definitely a big one as well. All the money that we raise as a nonprofit goes right back into our community. So the more dollars that we can raise, the more dollars we can give back to our community to make sure that no child is ever turned away for an inability to pay. And then staffing. Staffing is a huge one as well. I'm sure a lot of organizations out there definitely went through a transition when COVID hit that had to lay off some staff and had to cut down the workforce. And as we're ramping up programming, we definitely want to get back and make sure that we have the staff base needed as well. So we're definitely hiring for sure.
Okay, we're getting close to of our time together with these individuals, and I want you to leave them with something impactful. So when they walk out the door, they will say, wow, that Sheridan was incredible. That Gretchen was fabulous. Did you hear what she said about A, B, C, and D? So share with them any final comments that you have.
Well, please, as you're leaving, say Gretchen was fabulous. I would love to hear that. I think it's been echoed. We're all saying the same thing, the youth, their mental well-being, their social well-being, their physical well-being is just so important right now. And we're just looking to make sure that we have those programs for them. Something I guess I should mention is we have a kind of exciting initiative that we're rolling out this summer. It's called LEAP, and we're really looking to do some enrichment programs, work with the kids and the families, because we know that this year educationally has been really rough for them. So we're trying to kind of fill those gaps, work with the school district. So kind of going along too with volunteer efforts. If anybody is interested in volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club, with this summer program, we're gonna do our morning block from like 8:30 to 1 is all gonna be enrichment, but it's gonna be done in a really fun way. So we're gonna be, kind of weaving in social skills, character skills. We're doing a little bit of math and literacy. We're doing some positive action. So if anybody's interested in volunteering, we'd love to plug you into that. We also have summer program staffing positions open also. So if you have some young people in your life that are looking for a part-time summer job, please call us. We have plenty of opportunities. And I think just the biggest thing, just to leave you guys with Boys and Girls Club, we're all about, we have our 4 pillars that we work with: academic success, good character, healthy lifestyles, and then also workforce readiness for our, teens and young adults. So we just want to make sure that we're building that foundation for kids so that we are, when they leave our programs, they're ready. They're ready for what life is going to throw at them. And we know lately that is a lot. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, I'll obviously just leave you with, something that I think we've all touched on today, that investing in our youth today is going to secure a brighter future for all of us. Investing in our youth today is going to secure a brighter future for all of us. And that's what we ought to do. That's what we ought to do. So if you've been so inclined today to want to get involved, I encourage you to visit our website, bbbsaz.org. sign up, become a mentor. Sign up for an information session if you want more information. We also have a great partnership with Savers. If you have any used clothing or household items, we'll come pick them up for you. And they give us a certain percentage of that donation to help fund our program. So you can fund us in other different ways through your donations. Of course, there's tax credits and other things like that to help us out. But so there's many ways to get involved. But I think the common theme here today is just to get involved. That's what we want from everyone, is to get involved. And if you can't, maybe someone else can. Spread the word, introduce us to someone else who would like to be a part of this, or recommend someone. That's how we really transform our community, is by talking to each other. And so, again, I want to thank you, and it was an honor to be here.
Thank you. Okay, Sheridan's up.
Yes, thank you. I would say fight for the one. I think oftentimes we look at the world, and now that we're older, and I'm getting older, it's easy to lose sight of the importance of fighting for the one. We don't know the stories of the students walking into our buildings. We don't know their home. We don't know what it's like to live where they're at and to go to school where they're at, and we might be the only safe place. So fight for the one, because it's important. Where they're at right now matters, and the voice that we get to have in their life matters. So fight for the one. And if you guys want to volunteer at the bridge, that would be incredible, super exciting. Find me afterwards. I would love to talk with you guys, share a little bit more about what we get to do over at the bridge, some of the cool things that are happening over at the bridge right now. And you can go on our website, bridgeccc.com, to check out what we offer, our tutoring, the tutoring programs, how you can get involved. But again, that's bridgeccc.com. Don't forget to fight for the one.
Thank you. Let's come on down to Raymond.
Yeah, one of the things that I forgot to mention on is that, so Arizona is statistically been top 3 in the nation in drowning incidents, and the YMCA took an initiative back in 2017 to provide free swim lessons for our community. So starting May 17th through the 21st, the YMCA is going to be offering over 1,000 free swim lessons across the state. The only prerequisite is that they are not proficient swimmers, offering from ages 6 months to adulthood. I know my first summer when we did this, we taught an 86-year-old woman how to swim. So it's never too late to learn how to swim. We encourage you guys to share the word. If you yourself don't know how to swim, feel free to drop on by to one of our YMCA Welcome Centers. We have 14 locations in the Valley. I want to say about 9 pools. So we definitely want to make sure that we spread the word and fill up those swim lessons as soon as possible. And if you're interested in learning anything more about the YMCA, feel free to visit our website, valleyymca.org. Thank you, guys.
All right. I'd like to leave everyone with a specific call to action. I think that there's a lot of ways for you to get involved with all of our fantastic organizations, but something small in the next 24 hours, reach out to someone, rather if it's a coworker, a friend, a neighbor, and just converse with them. Say hi, ask them how their day is. If you have connections with youth, that would be great. Since it's a focus of youth, do that. But chances are, if you don't have access to youth, whoever you're interacting with, you're gonna have that trickle-down effect where it's gonna get to our youth. We're all in this together. It starts with a little kindness. So hopefully in the next 24 hours, you can make a conscious effort to just have a conversation with someone, a little bit more in depth, a little bit more eye contact, a little bit more smiles. There's so many great things in this world. There's a lot of potential for our youth, and it's gonna reach to them. So hopefully everyone can join me in doing that.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A call to action, a call to action. All of these individuals are reaching out to you and asking you to be involved, to be engaged. And just a reminder that this is just a snapshot of the many, many youth programs throughout the city of Chandler. They're all doing great work. So again, give all of our panel members a great big round of applause. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to serve as your moderator today. And I am not letting him off the hook. I'm going to get Director Hardy to come up here and to make a few closing comments. Director Hardy. No, you got to come up here. We don't have any walk-up music for you, so you'll just have to sing. You got a song for us? Oh, come on.
Where's your ring at? Where's your ring? You know that ring that we gave you? You remember that? Yeah. We'll talk about this later. You, uh, thank you all for being here this morning. I know that it took some time and effort to come out because you got to get up a little bit earlier, check into work, and then come out here. I know that that happens. Thank you to our panelists. Great words. And we all are going to be a part of what we can do to help. Thank you, Dr. Crawford. My brother, always will be. You know, it is for our city that we help and we put people to work. And they do that a lot to me. But I'm going to say this, that for our city, as part of our goal, is to help people live their potential. Helping people live their potential. We can't start everybody at the same place. We can't start everybody at a place in which, you know, they're running beside the same person and trying to get there. But if we can get them to live their potential, move forward, find young people who want to be directed into a way in which they should go, find tools, resources. That is what we're doing. It's not what we're trying to do, it's what we are doing. So we want people to live their potential here in Chandler and all over, as a matter of fact. But we particularly love what we do here in Chandler. And I want you to look at these young people up here and know that there are other young people behind them whom are going to be moving into your neighborhoods sooner or later. What kind of neighbor do you want to have? Those who live their potential or those who don't know what their potential is? So I just want you to think about that for a moment. Thank each and every one of you. Thank you to Neighborhood Services, as always, the Rory, Nikki, Leah, Cece, Lauren, all those kinds of people for helping out with this. And when you go home on your drive home, remember I'm on the road with you. Be careful. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye now.